Hey RV family, keep it tight. My name is Morse, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. Welcome back to the weekly metal and rock track roundup here on Morse, the review guy, where I talk about some of the tracks that really stood out to me, tracks that I want to recommend to you guys. As of the upload of this video, it's going to be Easter, so depending on when you're watching it, I hope that you guys have a great Easter if you celebrate it and all of that good stuff. Stay safe during these trying times. Let's get right into the video. And obviously, all of the links to all of these songs are going to be down in the description box below, so if you want to go listen to them yourselves and hear them, if any of these pique your interest, feel free. So Dance Gavin Dance with Lyrics Lie is coming up first. This is the third single from their upcoming record Afterburner, which is dropping later this month. They dropped 4 singles, if I remember correctly, for Artificial Selection, so I mean, they might release another before then, so they continue to drop singles in anticipation for the new record that's not dropping very far from now. Really noticing a change in production, with the general guitar and drum work being a bit more compact and not as open and squeaky clean, I would say, as it was on Artificial Selection, which is very interesting as they're still working with Chris Crummett, so I'm not sure. The chorus is still super sticky, lots of melodies, and this reads a lot like the logical follow-up to Artificial Selection, but even more melodic. I keep saying that. Dance Gavin Dance, they still are one of the most unique bands in their scene. Antillian's raspy high vocals and John Mess's crazed vocals still contrast very nicely. And Oceans with 5 of Swords. Holy shit. Havoc Eunuch, Festerday, and Oceans, whatever you want to call them. These guys have been across many genres. They were black gaze before it was cool. They were industrial black metal before it was barely even a thing, and they're coming out with a record this year. It has been an extremely long time, and I can't wait for this new album. My thoughts can be summed up in a comment that I read, and it said something along the lines of, "Black times call for black metal comebacks." I couldn't agree more, which is great considering this is one of the best tracks they have dropped in my opinion. Next up, I want to shout out the Held in Secret track, Static. I want to shout out this small little gent band on the come up that I discovered not too long ago. Better production could certainly do them a lot more justice, as I think their instrumentation is surprisingly very in tune with the current wave, but the overall dryness of the roughened vocals and the ethereal quality to the chorus could have been so much more beautiful if it was brought up with a bit better mixing. Otherwise, though, I think it's super solid, and yeah, just some good gent that I do recommend. Whoo! INDIGHXST Arms with Cold and Empty. So happy to see these guys back. I really want to emphasize that. They actually had a super tumultuous lineup throughout their runtime until disbanding back in, I believe, 2017, but they are officially back. Super destructive deathcore that reminds me of the 2000s. This is some despised icon, early Suicide Silence, early Whitechapel type shit, and I'm absolutely here for it. Never say you can't put soaring choruses in deathcore. It's something a lot of bands are playing around with, and I think it's fresh. I think it's unique. Look at Whitechapel's last record, The Valley, or what a band like Within the Ruins are doing. Next up, The Hero and a Monster with Heathen. Wonderful production coming together on this despondent track. I think fans of Trivium will really enjoy this. The riffs also have the constant blending heavy and soft nature of, I'd say, early Killswitch Engage or Bullet for My Valentine. This also features Ryan Kirby, A Fit for a King, and the soaring quality of the chorus really sounds like As I Lay Dying as well, so you can generally feel what I'm trying to say with the comparisons. This is just some very 2000s type metalcore music, and if you like that accessible style of metalcore with soaring vocals and a somewhat cookie cutter styling to it, but it still packs a punch, check it out. Next up, Blackwolf with Sleeping Dogs. Quick shout out to this kick-ass hardcore punk and metal band Blackwolf over here with a fast beatdown track that just gets in and out quickly. Good mixture of metal vocals and non-stop throaty punk vocals. You have that chuggy build up to a breakdown, and generally I'm impressed by how much is packed into here. The ending's just satisfying and makes me feel super content, even if it is a short track. Next up, Discerner with No Rest. Found these guys out from the Chugcore Promotions channel that I follow pretty closely, and Chugcore is a great description, a great explanation. This slaps hard, these verses are hard hitting, and you guys know how Infinite Annihilator seemingly just cycles from breakdown to breakdown, or mostly just these extremely down-tuned riff. Discerner's in that camp of just relentless heaviness, solid production, really gritty tone to the vocals, and yeah, not much to complain about here. I just want to hear more from these guys, honestly. Next Next up, Dream on Dreamer with Don't Disappear. Dream on Dreamer is disbanded now. They disbanded this year. This is the farewell album fans weren't sure if we were getting. I don't want to get too much into this in particular, as I will be doing a full-length review very soon on the channel, so look out for that if you're interested, but I just want to say this is one of the best tracks on the record, so if you do want a place to start, a bit of a cursory listen to test it out, here you go. Next up, Palaye Royale with Little Bastards. Palaye Royale has been a hit or miss band for me. I respect the band's ability to rise up the ranks of Sumerian Records, but it's not too hard to realize why. They take elements of a lot of mainstream rock and punk aesthetic and merge it with a healthy amount of glam, add in the lyricism relatable to the current generation, grim undertones of reality, and a revivalist attitude of pop punk that dominated the 2000s and that many people still enjoy in bulk and look back on fondly, and you're getting close to the general Palaye Royale formula. I followed the band since formation and remember them even before they started to catapult to success, right beside Asking Alexandria in the pantheon of Sumerian records and notoriety. Getting some 21 Pilots vibes here, but overall it's just a rock song propelled with lots of background embellishments. Feels like radio rock, but maybe a bit better than the usual right now. And speaking of 21 Pilots with Level of Concern, they've gone disco. They've gone funky. They've gone disco. That's it. Have a nice day. No, I'm just kidding, but seriously, they've gone disco, funk, folks. They've gone disco and funk. Tyler Joseph's vocals are shining better than ever before. It's insane how well he fits over this instrumentation. It obviously pokes fun and talks a little bit about the current state of the world, as many bands are doing right now. Josh Dunn does great on the drums, and mostly this is just a very enjoyable song that exposes the duo's diversity musically and shows that Tyler's voice can fit many things, from pop to rock to soft rock, pop rock, reggaeton, and now funkish disco. Next up, I want to shout out the Sunquake track, Amaranthe. I apologize in advance if I pronounce that poorly. I apologize. This comes off of a full length the band dropped back in February, and I do highly encourage fans of chaotic but technically measured metalcore, gen, and deathcore to check the record out, as after doing a cursory listen, it's a bit of a hidden gem of sorts. Cycling vocalist brings up the level of dynamics of this band, and the riffs really do read to me as talented musicians that understand the blueprint of the genre and play in that confinement in a way to not reinvent the wheel, but to use those stepping stones to create a banger of a track with a hearty amount of rawness to it. That bit of expansive instrumentation that opens in the 3-minute mark with the faded out screams in the backdrop giving way to the quickened solo has a great equalization to it and some killer atmosphere. Overall, the track's resonance is fantastic, and it excites me to hear more from the band in the future. And yeah, that is about going to wrap up this week's Metal and Rock Track Roundup. What tracks did you enjoy the most from this week? I'd love to hear it down in the comment section below. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is J Morse, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.